Pete here. Hey, there's a subject that I wanted to cover that I usually talk to private families about this because I think it's pretty relevant. Safe deposit boxes. Safe deposit boxes. A lot of families that have got means, they've got collections, jewelry, coins, bullion, those types of things. They'll keep a lot of those in a safe deposit box in a bank. But oddly enough, what seems to happen is they forget they're there and they forget to tell their family, their loved ones, that they had a safe deposit box. And so, if you don't already know this, I'm going to tell you what happens to those safe deposit boxes. Well, the payment gets unmade. Payments aren't being made on the safe deposit box. And the bank will try and contact the holder of that box, and if they don't get a response for a period of time, and it's different in every state. I think in the state of Missouri it's 5 years. And 5 years is pretty common. So 5 years, no payment, and what they're required to do is open that box, remove the contents, and send them to the Office of Unclaimed Property. So in your state, you will have an Office of Unclaimed Property, and the majority of what they handle are things like utility deposits that somebody never picks up, or they get mailed to their last address and they never get cashed, and so eventually they have to send them in. And you can search that database and you can look for your name, and sometimes you'll find out that you've got, $30, $200, $150 in your name, and you can claim it as long as you can prove your identity. Well, imagine that these banks that have contents of a safe deposit box have to put them inside of a mailing container and send them to the Office of Unclaimed Property, who then puts them against the particular name, the last known name on that box, and they put their name in the database that they have property that if they can prove their identity, they can claim it. But after a while, these states that are used to holding digital currency are now holding physical property. And as you can imagine, the Unclaimed Property Office is not in the business of holding physical assets. They have them in some type of a warehouse, probably a small warehouse, because safe deposit boxes aren't very big. They usually contain smaller items of high value. Of course, if there's cash in those boxes, they deposit them into the bank and put that money towards the person's name. But if there's actual physical, property, then eventually they need to get rid of it. And every state has a different process with regards to how they get rid of it. But the bottom line is what happens is it's going to go away. It's going to get sold to a consumer in one fashion or another. And the most common process for that is going to be an auction. Some of them do it online, some of them do it in person. And I have been going to these safe deposit auctions for years. I love them. They're a lot of fun. You find some of the most tremendous treasures at those auctions, but unfortunately they're a family's treasures. They're part of a family's legacy, and the fact that they're never going to get them is very unfortunate, because ultimately it's something that was precious and important to the family member that put it in the safe deposit box, and they just failed to make sure that their family knew. So the moral of this story is that if you have a safe deposit box, don't let it be a secret. And so, maybe you don't want to tell certain family members, maybe you don't want, people to know that you've got these treasures in a safe deposit box, and that's fine. But at the least, go to your attorney, go to whoever is handling your estate, and let them know. Let them know there's a safe deposit box and what bank they're at, how many safe deposit boxes, where the keys are, and so that your heirs can have access to those. Now, so just to expand on this a little bit, some people might imagine that there really aren't that many people who have safe deposit box contents that end up at auction and that end up at the Office of Unclaimed Property, but you would be flabbergasted at the volume that these auctions sell. And in particular, there's an auction, in-person auction in Florida, and they hold it approximately once a year. And I'm going to go to that. I'm scheduled to go to that auction. It's in the beginning of August. Maybe I'll take some video footage and post a story on what types of treasures we find at the Florida Unclaimed Property auction. But I will tell you that the Florida auction is enormous. It is immense. And I don't know what the total sales volume is each year, but the last couple of years I've been there, they're selling millions of dollars worth of contents out of these of people's safe deposit box contents. And it is some of the most beautiful jewelry, some of the most sought after coin collections, gold, silver, platinum, diamonds, you name it. It's all in that auction, and it is some of the most treasured stuff. And it's the kind of thing that, people who were pickers like me, we really enjoy and love the opportunity to, capitalize on somebody else's loss. And there's no guilt about it. I'm not the one who forgot to tell a loved one that I had a safe deposit box. I'm just the fortunate beneficiary of that. But it does touch my heart in a way that I always make it a point to try and share with families. Whenever I encounter families who are, talking about their estate and the ultimate disbursement of that and how that they're going to handle that, I try and remind people, if you have a safe deposit box, please tell somebody. Please make sure that other people know, so that it doesn't end up being sold to the highest bidder, and the only thing that family is left with are the proceeds of those sales, which again is typically going to be, even if they got all the items out of the safe deposit box and they sold it to a private buyer, sent it to auction, estate sale or something, they are probably going to end up with more money than if they let it go to this auction, and then later claim the funds, later go, oh hey, wait a minute, mom's got money at the Office of Unclaimed Property, and yes, you can go through the legal process to verify that you're the rightful owner, and you can get that money out of that office. So it's not like you lost everything, but you definitely lost the physical treasures, the possessions that were very meaningful to whoever it was who put them in that safe deposit box to begin with. So anyway, that's my story on safe deposit boxes. Maybe I'll be able to get some video footage and show you what that auction is like. It's pretty wild and crazy, and I sure do look forward to going every year and seeing what treasures I can find. Hey, but the reality is I would prefer to see those treasures and hear the stories from the families that acquired them and are now deciding, what it is that they need to do with them. It's so much more rewarding when I'm able to hear the stories behind these pieces and these collections, and then make a fair offer and buy them directly from the families in a way that is a equitable exchange and usually leaves everybody feeling really good about those transactions. So anyway, Pete here. I'm out here in the middle of Missouri, coming home from an estate auction, and just wanted to be able to visit about safe deposit boxes, as that's been on my mind, getting ready for the Florida auction at the beginning of next month. Hey, I hope you have a great day.